What Wimbledon is to tennis, Scarteen is to hunting. We'll be discovering what's so special about this County Limerick hunt, its hounds and its kit. But first, back to the city.
Well, thank all of you for being here this morning. Diana and I want to thank you on behalf of the Scarteen Black and Tan Hunt, all the joint masters. We want to thank and pay tribute to a number of people, but mainly to the people who make this hunt possible, and that is those of you who own the land that this hunt hunts over. This, as you know, is an historic season for the Black and Tans, in that this is the first season that we have, after many years, a new real master, Chris Ryan, who succeeds.
Say Black and Tan to a historian, and he will see the burning of Cork. A drinker will see a creamy-topped pint, but a huntsman will see a beagle. The Scarteen hunt is one of the very best in the world, and traditionally follows the fox with the same breed of hounds, which were originally brought to Ireland by Spanish traders in the 17th century. In honour of the dogs, Scarteen members wear their own special black coats with tan collars, their buttons inscribed B and T, Black and Tan, after the hounds.
And they have a tremendous tradition behind them. They've been hunting for, they've been hunting 300 years anyway. We've got a terrific landscape, terrific country we're covering. It's well established. They're not, in fact, registered foxhounds. They're a private pack, and that makes them perhaps a little bit special as well. But they're the goods. We've had some terrific hunting with them, and they're the real goods. And I think their reputation is earned by the hounds themselves.
And the Scarteen itself, what makes that so famous? Why is it known as one of the best in the world?
Again, perhaps it's because, again, it's been a tradition in the family. They've been the property of the Ryan family, again, for over 300 years. And they've been hunted by a Ryan, 90% of those 300 years. And again, the tradition, people like tradition. It's great, there's great security in tradition. And it's just a thrill for me to be able to continue it for another generation. But again, our debt of thanks is to the landowners. We are a farmer's hunt. And make no mistake about that, we have the majority of followers are farmers, landowners. And again, as long as we have them out, the hunt will continue.
How many people ride out with the Black and Tans?
It would depend on the day. But we'd be averaging about 45 perhaps to 50. And that would be our standard. Our country is made up of a lot of quite small holdings and small acreage. And the country literally can't take a big field. So we've got to try and limit the field accordingly.
But you're foot followers as well?
Foot followers as well, and some real enthusiasts.
If you hunt very often, how can you keep up the number of foxes? Do you have to kind of farm them like is done for shooting with game?
No, there's no farming of foxes. For the purpose of hunting anyway. No, they're a wild animal, and from season to season their numbers can vary a little bit, but we don't make any great toll on the fox population. They give us a lot of sport, and we're very thankful for them. A lot of people think that, oh, you must really hate foxes, you know, you're hunting them, what have you. No, they provide sport and entertainment, and the repercussions are great because financial repercussions travel wide, because from Michael Fraser supplying hunt jackets to lads hiring horses, to hotels. The commercial side of it is quite big, and a lot of people benefit out of it, as well as enjoying the sport.
As master of the hounds, you keep the kennels yourself. How many couples of hounds do you have?
We'd have about 35 couple in kennels, and we'd be hunting, on a day like this, we'd be hunting about 13 and a half.
Not only are the Scarteens famous for having their hounds on their buttons, but they're also famous for the suits to which those buttons are attached. People come from over 3 continents to have their hunting kit made up by the Frasers in this little shop in Hospital, County Limerick.
There were quite a few hunting tailors around in Dublin and Cork, maybe Clonmel, that sort of thing, but I think There's just with myself now, that's our family will say, and a man in Dublin, and I think he must be retiring. That's about all he's doing here. It's difficult to cut this stuff rather than making the stuff. It's difficult enough to make it as well, but you see, they have to get plenty of room in the shoulders and still at the same time have it tight enough that it's not going all over the place. And they have to get a nice skirt on the hunting jacket so that it flares over their riding breeches and over the horse's flanks. You know, you have to... then they want to look well, of course, needless to say, and they want a good fit. Getting a good fit is very important.
And how much would one of your hunting coats cost?
A black hunting coat is about £260, that's what I charge for it. Scarlet is about 300, and the green one is a little bit more. I'm not quite sure because I don't make very many green ones. And
the breeches?
Breeches, the buff colour are £70 and the white ones are 90. Difference in price is the same cloth. The difference in price is in the manufacture of the white cloth. More difficult to manufacture white cloth than coloured.
How many outfits would an avid huntsperson buy in a year, say?
That's the thing. A hunting coat lasts, I mean, you get 10 years of good wear out of most hunting coats. But then, of course, you could have a fall, or you could come into brambles or whatever. You might, and you get torn or whatever. It would need repairs. But you'd need one, I suppose, every 3 years anyway. That would be a conservative. Most Americans or that wouldn't probably think of one every year.
Michael, after all that work on a hunting coat, the measuring and the tacking and the fitting and the sewing and the pressing, does it ever grieve you when they come back in tatters?
Well, no, it doesn't actually grieve me. It's just they're actually getting their hunting coats for, as well as keeping them protected from the rain, too. If they got a fall, they wouldn't be... They'd have some protection in the coats. After all, it's a rather stout material, and of course they do come back in tatters. They do indeed. I have one there. I got in last week to fix. Just take a look. What do you think of that one? And still, it has to be fixed. Well, it'll be back near normal again. There's a bush somewhere wearing a nice new bit of a coat.
Well, they're back and no bones broken, and Reynard can sleep easy for another night. There's those who would question hunting as a sport, but it's undoubtedly an industry and very sociable. So while I go and join the Scarteens for a warming cup and the news of the day, I leave you with Alf.